Welcome, everyone, to Friday 15 with Master B2B. My name is Brian Beck. I'm here with Andy Hoare, my partner in our Master B2B series. Andy, welcome to 2026. We're kicking it off with a great topic. Welcome to Friday 15, Andy.
Yeah, and new music.
Well, new music to boot. Yeah, we're gonna keep it fun and exciting this year. We're gonna do a lot this year of integrating people from our community into our Friday 15 sessions. We're really excited about that, and we've got a great session today. But of course, before we get to that, we need to go to our breaking news. Love saying it that way. Andy, did you see this? This is absolutely hilarious. This guy set up, and a little scary. This fellow set up an AI misinformation experiment. He built a company, right? So a luxury paperweights company. It's a fake product. $8,000 luxury paperweights. He wanted to see how LLMs, this is all related to AEO, agentic engine optimization, or optimizing for showing up in the search results or the results of queries posed to ChatGPT and other ones. And he set up this company which would basically, supposedly sell these luxury paperweights. And he fooled the LLMs. In other words, he created this whole fake thing, and the LLMs picked up on it, and they thought it was real. And he did a whole bunch of things like posting in Reddit and Medium and a bunch of other places. He put up a website. He put up a FAQ. And it's fascinating is because in AI search, what he found is the most detailed story wins, even if it's fake. AI productivity tools are being used as answer engines in a world where anyone can spin up a credible looking story in an hour. It's PR, but for machines that can't tell who's lying. I mean, he was showing up as a legitimate. He had Elon Musk and other influencers, fake, commenting on these paperweight products. This is fascinating and scary because the whole thing was fake. But the LLMs thought it was real over time. The more content he added. Would you any reactions? It's fascinating.
Well, it just shows you there's no real guardrails around any of this right now, which in the creative stages, people say that's fantastic. We don't want to curtail anything. That's all wonderful, except that when reality sets in and people set up fake sites and then it just promulgates the fakeness and the falsehoods all around the world, then certainly people turn around and go, wait a minute, we can't tolerate this. But then you start looking at what the solution to it is, and then the cure sounds worse than the disease. Like, oh, let's have an independent body that would verify this stuff. It's like, well, who's going to run that?
Right.
And then that'll slow things down. But there has to be something in here to verify that people are really posting these things. And you see like verification mechanisms in other realms. LinkedIn does it. There's a way credit bureaus do these things. There's a way to do this. So. But yeah, I hope this is a clarion call to the industry that this is going to get worse if they don't do something about it.
Well, how is it any different than what Google, right? I mean, in the sense that people can fool Google too, with but in the world of Google and the history of Google, getting ranking in Google would be you'd benefit from links from like edu or .gov sites, and so Google had some level of authority checking, but this whole world of AEO is changing so much and so fast, and it presents opportunities both for good companies that are legitimate good actors, but also companies that aren't, right? That think about this. What if a competitor comes in and starts creating false stories about your brand as a legitimate B2B manufacturer, for example, and talking about, oh, they just went out of business or whatever. Think about
I mean, you can destroy somebody's reputation. I mean, these are all just very scalable and very powerful tools that can be used for good or for ill.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, there were stories like last year about how intelligence, the Chinese, for example, had been using Anthropic they tricked Anthropic, which is the Claude system. They tricked them into believing that they were helping to protect a website by identifying the vulnerabilities in the website, when in fact what they were doing was exactly what they said, which was identifying the vulnerabilities in the website. So they used Claude to hack into a bunch of sites, and Claude found themselves as a useful idiot in the process. So, and then of course, when they saw that, they changed their methodology, but it does kind of beg the question, why didn't they prevent that to begin with? So yes, we will live and learn on this stuff, but
Yeah.
it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll continue to follow. It's fascinating. So today we're talking about digitally enabling the sales team in 2026. And, Andy, for years, companies have sort of, ever since the introduction of e-commerce, companies have struggled with a sort of tension between sales teams who have had relationships for a long time with customers and e-commerce sort of taking that business away, right? So are we just sort of shifting from one channel to another? Are we disintermediating channels? Sales teams have long hated e-commerce as a competitive channel in their business. I mean, so there's just been this tension. And what the fact of the matter is, though, it's not the reality of how B2B buyers, actually customers, want to interact. In fact, Gartner came out with a study that showed that all the way through the purchase journey, from problem identification all the way through buying, and even referral afterwards, they're using both channels. B2B customers are, and particularly now that millennials are the bulk of buyers, they're using both channels, digital and physical, in the buying journey almost equally, right?
Well,
So you're seeing
what's
both.
interesting
Yep.
about this is back in the day, because I was there when this was taking place, the group that was having a problem with this was the sales team. They were
Right.
the ones who said, no, e-commerce isn't being used along the way. We're the ones helping them at the beginning, or we're the ones closing at the end. And the reality was both groups were operating interchangeably throughout the journey. But the news at the time was that e-commerce was such a factor.
Right.
So I think that's kind of sort of been baked into the cake at this point. I think both groups understand that, but there still is a zero-sum mentality about some of this.
Yeah, there is. Well, things are changing, Andy. I mean, companies. This is a study that, for those who can't see it, I'm showing a study from Forrester Research that was done last year that showed that 82% of C-suite leaders say physical sales teams and marketing teams, who usually run e-commerce, are aligned, and 41% say they're highly aligned. So we're seeing much more sort of, the organization actually embracing this and understanding that the customer really should come first, and the customer is one that should drive this, and not internal legacy thinking. In fact, McKinsey has come out and said 85% of B2B companies expected hybrid sellers, meaning digitally or physical sales teams that are enabled with digital tools, to be the most common role in a sales organization. So they've even put a name on it. McKinsey has. And so this is a real thing. And when we see things like this, we like to go to our community and ask and involve them in this discussion. So we have one of our superstars in the community today, joining us on our Friday 15, Miss Adrienne Hartman. Miss Adrienne Hartman is the Executive Vice President of Marketing at JJ Keller. We're going to ask her what that is, but the most important thing is she's I think a 7-time winner of our debates. I don't know. What is it, Adrienne? 5-time winner, 3-time winner? Oh, there it is.
There's
the
the trophy. I don't know how many it is, but every time we talk, I get one more. So
perfect. Well, Adrienne, thanks for joining us
just
today.
Take one away from Brian and give it to you, Adrienne. That's the way it works.
And she's always on your team, Andy, and therefore you always win, because you get the ringers, not me. Anyway, we have our debates. They're fun. Adrienne, tell us about JJ Keller and what your role is there. Welcome.
Thank you. So JJ Keller helps businesses comply with government regulations. Think about Department of Transportation, OSHA, Department of Labor. We have physical products, we have online solutions, and we have professional services, managed services, consulting, that type of thing. So a lot of different areas that we're focusing on to help our customers. I've been at the company 18 years, 17 of those years leading e-com directly, and the last year leading the overall marketing organization. So a little bit of a unique perspective on this. And e-commerce is part of the marketing organization in our company.
Perfect. And you don't manage sales. You have a peer that manages or oversees the sales function, correct?
Correct. I have a peer who manages sales. However, we do have some components of sales that are in marketing. For example, we have a sales academy that brings in new sales talent and trains them up over a period of 4 months. We train them to be a high-performing sales representative during those 4 months, and they are a lead gen machine during that time period as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, and our inbound sales team is also part of marketing. So the people who are answering the inquiries from the websites and from the catalogs and some of our direct response materials as well.
So everything we shared in the beginning, the last couple of minutes, I think, based on our conversations, Adrienne, that I think a lot of those issues are you've experienced, right? I mean, tell us kind of where you guys are from that standpoint. What have been some of the most effective things that you've seen in terms of aligning sales and marketing?
Yeah, so I don't view that boxing match. Actually, our sales leader is my closest ally. He and I talk every day,
Okay.
and I have very close relationships with his first line of staff as well. And my team, my marketing team, is actually aligned to help support them. So we're viewing ourselves with a couple of different lenses, and one of those being, yes, we are all here for our customers and for the overall organization. So we're trying to drive some direct sales. Absolutely. We run our store on Amazon and on marketplaces. We run jjkeller.com, which is both direct transactional vehicle, but is also a lead gen vehicle for those sales reps for some of the higher consideration items. It's also a place where, for some items, customers can say, request a free product sample, and then sales would follow up with them on that. It's a place where customers can find some of our 300 events we do both online and in person around the country every year. Sign up for that. Again, strong lead gen vehicle for sales. We actually run, I mentioned jjkeller.com, but we have 14 marketing websites supporting some different aspects of our business and some of our cloud products as well. So that's a pretty strong digital presence that we have out there. And we're doing many different things to drive customers to those sites, again, both to make some direct transactions, but also for lead generation. And I think one of the most important things that we did very early on is we made sure for an assigned account that the sales rep gets credit no matter where the order is placed. So if the order comes through jjkeller.com, if the order comes through e-procurement, punch out, any way the customer wants to place that order, that rep is getting credit. So they don't feel like they're fighting it. And part of our whole internal marketing campaign and push is basically, you can make sales even when you're on vacation. This engine is here working for you, taking some of the busy work out of getting orders in the system.
So I have a question for you.
All right, go ahead. I was just going to say, comment on something you said, Adrienne. You said 300 events. So you're doing, what are these webinars? What are they?
There are a lot of webinars, but we also have in-person events that we host all around the country for professionals in our industry. We had, I actually attended one in Atlanta in December. We had 90 transportation professionals in the room.
Wow.
Learning about what's happening in the regulatory space where these professionals are working every day. And then we're also exposing them to some of our products and services. And then sales is in attendance at those meetings as well, a number of salespeople. We have over 600 sales reps.
Wow.
So we really actually have to limit how many of them are at each of these events. But the speaking at the event is done both by sales and by one of our regulatory experts.
And digitally, you're driving the leads to those events, right? To the traffic, the attendance. Cool. Go ahead, Andy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in the history of this kind of relation between sales and e-commerce, we've seen ebbing and flowing. We see some companies get it better than others. It sounds like you have a pretty mature relationship and a amicable relationship with your team. But here's the question I have for you. You said any way our customers want to buy. When I've seen this in the past, what I've seen is companies decide how they want customers to buy from them, as opposed to allowing the customers to tell them how they want to buy from them. How have you negotiated that? How have you navigated that so that you really are deferring to the customers, as opposed to, oh, the sales team wants to touch them this month because they have a promotion coming out, but do we know if the customer wants to be touched this month by the sales rep?
Well, the touching is a whole nother issue. But I will say, when it comes to how the customer places an order, we truly are channel agnostic. We want, however the customer wants to do business with us, we want to be there for them. And one of the things that we've done is, as a marketing e-com side, we have made it easy to do e-procurement integrations and punch-out integrations. We take that work on for sales. So sales doesn't need to figure out how to work in Coupa or Ariba. We do all that for them. We've given them a whole bunch of basically cheat sheets. If a customer says any of these words, pick up the phone and call us and we'll take it from there. So we're really trying on that. On the touching, we actually are currently working on implementing a customer data platform and overall marketing automation system. This is something we've been working on actually for the last few months, selecting a tool. We're nearing the end of that selection, and then we're going to be implementing this. And the customer data platform, along with the new, more modern marketing stack, is going to allow us to better have all of that marketing outreach, whether that be rep generated, because ideally we want that. We want a rep to be able to send a personalized message through the system that then maybe precludes us from sending something else. But we also want really to have more intelligent journey-based marketing. And ultimately, we want to get those leads, the right leads, to sales faster so that they can follow up with customers in a really timely manner.
So what happens? Sorry, Brian. So what happens when those leads don't get to the sales reps in a timely fashion?
You know, the longer a lead collects dust, the less effective it is. And we know this. And we're currently running on some old manual processes, which is why we were able to move forward with getting approval for the buy-in for upgrading the systems on this. And sales isn't happy if they have reps at a big SHRM, Society for Human Resources Management. If we have sales at a big show like that, and they're not actually getting the leads in their queue until 10 days after the show ends, those leads are cold. They've lost their impact, and that's when sales isn't happy with me. That's when they definitely, rightfully so, will raise concerns to us. And that's part of what we're trying to do better.
Adrienne, we talked at the beginning of this a little bit about some stuff that's happening with AEO, with agentic engine optimization, sort of the getting yourself showing up in those search results. I mean, that's got to be a part of something you're thinking about for generating leads for your sales team, right? And supporting your sales team. What are you guys doing in that area?
Every day. Well, a lot of the AEO signals are the same as the things that impacted SEO for years.
Mhm.
So if you have a site or websites that are strong in SEO, they should be strong in this. However, as you indicated, a lot of what we're seeing as well is that the answer engines are giving a lot of weight to user-generated content. So we've taken another angle as well as spending more time and focus on review sites, for example. We're not doing the whole going down the Reddit path, but thinking about sites like G2, because G2 and those other type of review sites, those do get a lot of credibility in answer engines.
Interesting.
So
no Reddit.
This is a big part of the strategy. You're right.
So we need to get your reaction. We just got a couple minutes left here to our LinkedIn poll. So we asked our community, Adrienne, on LinkedIn, what are the most impactful digital tools or strategies you can give to your sales team in 2026? Really interesting. It was just to that last point. Number one was selected was AI-enabled prospecting tools. 57% said that. People also weighed in, said that better CRM e-com integration, which goes to your platforming discussion earlier, 29% said that. And then cross-channel sales incentives, 14%. That seems to be table stakes. Nobody said pricing tools, which was interesting. What's your reaction to this? Do you agree?
I think that these are the right areas to be focusing. And I think that the reason why people didn't vote for the pricing tools is because in our roles, we typically don't own pricing. I do think that a big area for us to be focusing on, and something that I am looking at as well, is really that buying signal tracking. So being able to let sales know that a hot prospect was viewing this content online and letting them know that quickly so that they can follow up. We have so many clues as people leave their digital dust around, and for us to be able to collect all of that and be more informed in what we let sales know so that they can act on it in a timely way. And that all ties into AI, because you sure can't do that manually with spreadsheets.
Right.
That's what I think the big winner is.
Well, and it ties into the CDP you're deploying and that CRM e-com integration, all that. But now, well, Adrienne Hartman, thank you very much for joining us today. As always, your amazing insights. I learned so much when we talk with you. So thanks for being part of our Friday 15 this week.
Thanks, and we'll see you guys soon.
You will.
See you, Adrienne.
All right, Andy, we got a couple quick announcements here, and then we got to move on to our next Friday 15. But first off, folks, we want to remind you that the Master B2B Nexus program continues to grow. And as we get into this new year, it's your personal digital lifeline. This is a expert advice on demand from very senior level, very experienced expert advisors as well as peers. We connect you with others to get you answers to your questions quickly. You can go to our website and look for the word Nexus, and you will find out more information. Also, Andy, our summit is coming up in just a couple of months.
2 months,
University of Chicago. Yeah, 2 months. Our 4th annual summit. We're going to be doing a couple of days, March 10th and 11th. Lots of roundtables. We're almost full. So if you want to join us, folks, go to our website, look for the word summit, and submit your information to become a part of our event. It's going to be a great one at the University of Chicago, March 11th, 10th and 11th. And finally, I want to remind everyone that our Friday 15 is available via a podcast service, Spotify, Apple, etc., and on our website, YouTube. Take a look and please give us a review if you would, only if good. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining. Andy, any final words before we part for another Friday 15?
Yeah, I like what Adrienne said. It gets kind of lost in the shuffle at times. Technology can help source information, but can also accelerate the delivery of information. And that second part is really critical because, as she pointed out, marketing can generate all these leads. But if those leads sit there and acquire dust, they're worthless. And
Right.
so using systems and AI to alert people that things are happening in real time, I think the research is very clear on this. The first company to respond to a request for proposal wins the business inordinately high percentages of the time. It's like 67%, 70%. So there's a lot to be said there around using tools to accelerate connection.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Well, it's a good way to end our Friday 15 this week, folks. We will see you on our next Friday 15 next Friday. Hopefully you learned a lot today. Thanks again to Adrienne Hartman. Take care.